Tom recently took a visit to Hermann, Missouri and visited a very special winery.
Yep, take a look at this.
Okay, when you come to Hermann, Missouri, there is absolutely a must-stop place, and that is the Puchta Winery. And I've got Parker Puchta. Now remember, the same last name, that figures very heavily into the history here. Thanks for having us by, first of all. Okay, the history. Your family has been here like forever doing the same thing. Tell me about it.
Yes, so we're in our 7th generation. I'm 7th generation Parker Puchta, and we were founded in 1855, and the winery's been in our family since then, so it makes us the oldest continuously family-owned winery in the United States.
That's saying a lot too.
Yes.
Because if you just think about it, that means you all went through Prohibition, and that is also part of, I guess you might call it, the difficult history of Puchta.
Yeah, so we were open up until Prohibition, obviously, and then once that happened, we had to close our doors. My great-grandpa, Everett Puchta, still continued to make some of the allotted amount that he was allowed to make under the Prohibition laws, and then we were closed all the way up until 1990 when my father, Tim Puchta, and my grandpa reopened in 1990.
But of course, during Prohibition, yes, you had that allotted amount, but so much of your grape, your harvest was destroyed.
Yes.
I mean, plowed under kind of thing.
Yep, they ripped out all of our vineyards and most of all of our equipment as well.
So from the 1990s, though, you've brought it back. Do you have some of the old, the old line that you might have had back then that was kept and brought forward a little?
In terms of vineyards?
Yeah, some of the grapes and things?
No, so we do have some old wild vines that are growing in the woods, but they're not production anymore. They're over 100 foot tall, so they're not producing anymore, but they are still there. It's pretty cool to kind of check out.
And part of the history, of course, we're sitting in part of the history. Tell me where we are right now.
Yeah, so we're the original press house, so this actually was where they made the grapes. In the attic is where they would have had their fermentation tanks, vats at that time. And then below us is the original cellar that was built in 1854. And we had tanks in here until 2004. Then we renovated it, and now it houses our 1855 cellar bistro.
Yeah, I mean, it's very nice. And when I hear the word bistro, yeah, I think about wine, but I also think of stuff to eat, and I'm looking at something really beautiful here. Tell me about this part.
So this is our charcuterie board. So this is one of our offerings here in the press house as one of our elevated tastings. So this is something that we do if you want to come in and kind of have a little bit longer experience with some of our wines. They're hand selected by our brand ambassador, Lee, who helps kind of guide our customers through some tasting and kind of go a little bit more in depth of what food and wine can kind of do with the relationship between the two.
Okay, then let's go back to square one, because charcuterie, that's a nice addition, but it's about the wine. Tell me about your wine here, the different varieties you might have.
Yeah, so we make about 22 wines right now, excluding some vintages like our Estate Norton that we're currently sipping on here, which is made on our property with our estate vineyard, which was planted in '89. So that was the first vineyard that we planted here after Prohibition, and that's what currently makes this wine specifically, which is just the grapes off of our property here.
Is this your crown jewel right here? Is the one that the family might be most proud of?
I would say yes, just because it is on our property, so it is kind of a staple. We have a lot of other wines that we really enjoy, but it really kind of depends on what we're doing. I'm a big food person and went to culinary school, so grew up German family, so food and wine is kind of a big part of what we do here, and this is kind of why we do these style of things as well.
I'm certain something for every palate, and just a couple seconds left, especially palates that like slushies.
We do have quite a bit of wine slushies.
Yeah. People want more information. How do they get it about Adam Puchta Winery?
Yes, they can visit us on our website at adampuchtawine.com or visit us on Instagram and other social media.
Okay, you really do. It is a must stop. Cheers to you,
Cheers.
sir.
Thank you.
Cheers.